every single time I start with saying 開始. 咁當然啦, since this is the last vocab seminar, and I also want to take this opportunity to specifically thank everyone who has supported me previously on Ko-fi, and also all the awesome messages that you guys, because then your messages tell me that I have made a small difference in you guys learning Cantonese, and that small difference makes a big difference for me. So this is the last one. I hope you guys will have lots of fun in this hour. So let's talk about what's going to happen in this hour. Let's go to the next slide. And we are going to look at, first of all, since I know that everyone's probably really familiar with the game, and I don't know if there's any new people here, but if there is, welcome. Class guideline. And then we're going to just introduce like what is an idiom, because then that's our topic for today. Cantonese idioms, 廣東話嘅言語. So 講一講先 ，class guideline， 大家知道啦，大家都非常之好，冇遲到啦 ，no one was late. This session is recorded. Those of you who have not been here before, it is recorded. If you do not want your voice to be in it, try not to say anything. But if you are going to say anything, let us know you want it to be edited out, and we will definitely edit you guys out, okay? That goes for questions and everything. But questions in this one particular, we hope that you can also keep it to the text channel. If you have any questions, maybe you didn't understand something that I've said in Chinese and I forgot to say it back in English, tag a TA who will explain, or they will tag me so I can go back, because then unfortunately sometimes I do go off on a tangent. Those who know me well, I go off on a very long tangent. Now the other thing is that, like, of course, no disruptive behavior, no inappropriate comments, please. This one is going to be a really lighthearted topic, but hope everyone will keep it, as appropriate and comfortable for everyone here in this voice channel. That's all I ask of you guys. And if you're talking and you want to talk, because then there are opportunities to ask questions, is please set up your push to talk. Okay, that's it. Okay, now let's start for real. Okay, let's really start for real. So I will be trying to speak as much English as possible, because then that's usually this is usually in English instruction, these vocab seminars, but then this one I in particular will be using a lot more Cantonese, because we are literally discussing a very important piece of Cantonese literature tool. Well, not quite literature, but language tool. So let's look at slide 5. And here I'm going to introduce Hong Kong's most popular animal. His name is Macdao. Macdao is the little boy that you see, the kid in the red and orange hat. He is talking to his mom. His mom's in the apron, and the speech bubble goes as so. Mama, 我哋今晚食咩啊? That means, Mom, what are we having for tonight? His mom replies, 你考試又考零分，食懵你啦. And what she said was, you got a 0 on your test again. Eat dumb you. And then he replies, 咁即係食乜啫? Then what does that mean we're eating? And then his mom yelled at him a little bit more, 食自己啦. 食自己. Eat yourself lah. Okay. And here we have a very golden example of some banter between Cantonese people. Not only is it sharp, a little bit negative, they are yelling at, well, at least there's one direction yelling, and they are a lot of wordplay. Okay, wordplay. This is the key bits of our theme today. So let's go down to the next slide and let's talk about Cantonese idioms a little bit more. Just in general, all Cantonese idioms and Chinese idioms in general. You could say that for any Chinese figure literal piece. Everything is about the essence. Okay, Cantonese idioms, first essence that we always will have is imagery, really strong imagery. Whether it's something that is that's so common experience that you're so used to. For example, both eat macho. Everyone's eating kanji. Everyone knows what kanji is, and everyone knows that kanji has taken a really long time to make to have good kanji. So talking on the phone for a long time to the point where your phone is hot and that duration is just like boiling kanji, making kanji. Or maybe it's so bizarre that it really shows the feeling of the person or the situation that's trying to explain how ridiculous the situation or whatever that they're feeling, all those intense emotions. And an example could be, 拉隻唔係豬乸都會上樹. You feel like it's so unreliable, or someone or something is so unreliable that a female pig will climb a tree, right? A very improbable event, just to compare how unreliable you feel. That's how intense your emotion is. The more bizarre, the more intense your emotion, you're trying to relate to that other person. And of course, there's also another essence of it is wordplay and puns, right? And you want to protect as much of that message in your wordplay and your pun that you want other people to know what you're saying, but you don't want to directly say it to them, because it could be a really negative thing, or it could be a really positive thing. It just could be very emotional, or a situation that you also want to show that, oh, I've been there too, or that you can also give people share experience, right? And the last thing is that banter. Banter is especially important because then we'll talk about this in the next slide a little bit more, but banter is something that is really important on languages, but in Cantonese in particular. If you guys are on the same channel, you guys key, okay? You guys are on the same key. You guys will understand each other, and you guys will be able to play along on each other's word puns, play or reference pop culture references, and then you guys will be able to bridge that together. It's really important. Now, what do these idioms hold? Okay, and now we're going to look at idioms that are often actually like they've been around for a while, last couple of generations, but there's also some new ones that also keep popping up too. Culture. Our Cantonese culture is very strong, a lot of cultural things about our food. And then like our way of life is also another important one, because then like it also tells sometimes like way of life at that time, like what people would particularly do, right? Another thing is history and events. Sometimes our idioms talk about an event in history that might have happened. For example, apparently 放飛機係乜嘢？放飛機 means to flake out on someone, to not show up for a meeting or a date. So apparently, when Hong Kong had its first airport, the event to unveil the airplane and to actually fly the airplane was postponed twice. Once because of a typhoon, the other time was because the pilot fell sick or something. So the entire city was disappointed twice, and then they were flaked on twice, and then from then on they call being flaked on 放飛機. So it holds some history and some events that's collective of the entire population. There's also mindsets of the generation at that time. Like sometimes it might be a little bit outdated, but sometimes not. But you can kind of see like views on women, views on men, views on kids, and like different ages. Very important. So some of the stuff that you might want to pick up on too. Last thing is humor. Honestly, Cantonese people are the funniest Chinese people out there. If anyone wants to argue with that, you can just point them in the direction of Stephen Chow, and tell them, I don't think so. And then their argument would be lost. It'd be gone. Am I right? I'm so right. Okie dokie. Now let's go to the next slide and let's look at this Venn diagram. Obviously, I did not make it. Now, if you look at the purple blob, okay, the purple circle, inside it says 成語. Okay, and it's going to be on your left list. 成語is the first one. It is Chinese proverbs or idioms, and it's derived from either classical literature or history. So if anyone has been in, I think a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about 成語, I think like week 4 for level 2 on Wednesday night, we were talking about Chinese proverbs. Now the difference between proverbs and 四字詞語, 成語同四字詞語嘅分別, okay, 4-worded vocabulary or phrases, is that 成語, the order cannot be jumbled around. It has to be like those 4 words, or 3, 5, 6, 7, up to 10. Okay, actually, because then 4 just happens to be like 96% of all the 成語, 4-worded ones. Their word order cannot be jumbled up. It has to be those 4 words in that order. So that's how you tell that 成語is the official title. Okay. And also there's usually a story behind it, if not a moral. Okay. And it's always from either actual history or classical literature story that it's derived from some analect. Now the other circle that we're gonna look at next is the green one. So the green one is in the center, and that's what we're actually going to talk about today. And this is yin yu. Yin yu. Yin yu means idioms. Yin yu is inside a bigger circle, which is the yellow one, which is zhou yu. Okay, zhou yu another way is to say guan yong yu, and zhou yu means slang vocabulary or phrases. Now, what's the difference between zhou yu and hao yu? So hao yu is what we would say that we would like the actual Cantonese, like actual speaking Cantonese grammar. So maybe you would say like hai is hao yu, whereas it's opposite. We're looking at the right side, by the way, now. Su min yu is si, right? To say is. Hao yu, hai. Su min yu is si. Now, zhou yu or guan yong yu is actual vocabulary or phrases. So it has to be like, more holistic. There's a counterpart to it, like, like just because we say one thing in su min yu, we would say it in zhou yu. Okay? Yeah. So it is less on the grammar bits and more on actual vocabulary. Now we're going to look at the smallest circle right now, and the smallest circle is in between the green one and the yellow one. That one is ki hao yu. Ki hao yu is actually a two-part idiom. So the first half is a riddle, and the second half is the answer. And the answer is always going to be a pun for another phrase. And there's a lot of them. So if we go to the next slide, okay, and then here I think a lot of us have seen it before. It's been brought up in that same week as well, class, that there's a lot of 廣東話香港啦 ，OK， 因為其實好多都係香港 base、廣州 base 嘅言語咧 ，it has two parts. Has two parts to it. You say one half of it. So then if the other person knows what you're talking about, okay, remember we're going back to the banter, then you don't even need to say the other half. They'll just know. But if they don't know and then you're asking for the guess, then you're telling them usually, and you're like, it means this. You're explaining the joke to them. It's nothing wrong. It's not as bad as explaining a dad joke, but it is quite sometimes on the dad joke level. You want them to know what you really think. It's kind of like that kind of communication that people are aiming for when they get to that bantering, okay? Okie dokie. So, anyone who wants to take a quick look at this, I put the version with all the answer key on it. Anyone who hasn't seen this is actually, I think it came out a few years ago. A picture of 81 or more Cantonese idioms, and it's modeled after this, I think it was Danish painter who painted a lot of idioms in one portrait too, and then another Hong Kong comic artist did this, and it's actually really cool. I think they should come out with a part 2. I would love to see a part 2. There's a lot of them here, but since this is so widely taught, and I've actually taught this myself in when I was doing like my peer-to-peer uni class a few years ago too, I did different research, and I will not be teaching anything on this poster. Instead, we are going to talk about other things, and I separate them into 4 categories, and we'll talk a little bit more why. Let's start with the first one. 我哋睇下第9個 slide, okay, 第9頁 slide 9. The first topic is my favorite topic. Anyone who's been in my class knows that I can't stop talking about food. 食物冇錯啦，食物. And I make this easy for you guys, okay? Because I want you guys to not only, because keep in mind that this is a vocab summer, not only do I want to centralize the information to the point where you guys absorb it the quickest, I also want you guys to pick up patterns, okay? Different patterns in these Cantonese idioms. And first one is called 食字. 食, which means to eat. Now, a lot of these will mean figuratively to eat something. But it could also mean that, like, another meaning might mean that you're absorbing something or you are swallowing something, okay? Like, keep all of these other translations or possible meanings in mind. Now, we're going to start with the first one. Now, we're going to talk about lettuce. 食 生菜食生菜 Okay, so for about streaming, I did cut everything on click. So if you guys want to click, then click yeah. So the meaning of it is actually there's two. First one is that it's an analogy to describe something that's like so easy, like effortless task, easy peasy, or maybe you're just straight up describing a situation that is easily resolvable, no problem. Or like Gaudium thing. The second one is that it's an analogy for describing a really casual and loudly said promise, and obviously it's an empty promise, and it's so empty that like you just said it so loudly, it's kind of like eating lettuce. And how do you eat lettuce? Loudly. Chop, 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 chop. 咁就好似你講你發誓咁發誓 chop, chop, say. So let's look at the sample sentences. First sample sentence is 我要贏你就結果食生菜啦. Okay, we're talking about the first meaning. Winning you is easier than eating lettuce. Well, first of all, why are we saying it in that way? If you guys cook Chinese cuisine, you guys know that all of our Chinese cuisine, choy, is cooked. We either stir fry it, or we boil it, or we put it in soup, etc. Right? We never eat bok choy raw. But then the only choy that we eat raw is lettuce, and we call it sang choy already. So we're saying that eating that choy is so easy because you can eat it raw. You just need to wash it and then put it in your mouth, chew, swallow. Am I? So that's why yang 呢個 sample sentence 入邊 the sample sentence 我要贏你就易過食生菜啦. That's how easy winning you is. It's easier than eating lettuce. And the second sample sentence is your vows is like eating lettuce. Vows is 發誓. So the sample sentence is 你發誓當食生菜. Your vows, your promises is like eating lettuce. 唰唰聲，唰唰唰唰唰唰唰。咁食完咁就算㗎啦。咁講完就算㗎啦。You make all the sound and then like that's it. There's barely any nutritional value, right? Empty fiber. So very strong imagery. You got your sound too, right? Aside from like just like that culture in there that we eat lettuce raw. Well, we could eat lettuce raw. And we also have like that strong imagery, the sound. 食生菜其實係講佢講嘢嘅時候，你空口講白話 okay? Empty words, empty promises. It's just like noisy, eating lettuce noisily. Easy stuff, right? Let's look at the next one. 睇下下一個 slide. 下一個 slide 就係食白果 to eat ginkgo nut. 知唔知咩係 ginkgo？ginkgo 就係銀杏啦，銀杏。銀杏 is that tree that's so ancient. It basically comes from like the age of dinosaurs, and it has a flat little leaf. They're really stinky actually, I think, like when like it's like fall and spring, but then they're really pretty. They turn yellow. So they also produce these nuts, and the shell of it is white. The inside is yellow. You guys actually drink Cantonese soup, you guys might see it, or even in Cantonese desserts, okay? Now, what does it mean? It means to put effort into something and not get results, or to fail completely. So, sample sentence 係乜嘢咧? What is it? 我花咁多心機，但最後都係食白果. I spent so much effort, but in the end, I still ate ginkgo nuts. So obviously they're saying that like, you know, 食白果represents you did not get the results you want. And also remember, 白 means blank in Chinese, okay? And 果 often refers to 因果嘅果, the karma, like the results. So 食白果, blank karma, that means you didn't get anything. It was empty karma. So 食白果其實係咁嘅意思。我哋睇下第三個。Let's go third one. Third one, slide 12, is 食檸檬. 食檸檬.檸檬is lemon, as you guys see from the picture. To eat lemons means to be rejected. 我開頭都食檸檬㗎，不過最後我都成功。 At first, I was also eating lemons, but in the end, I succeeded. Obviously, a sample sentence sounds like, you're having difficulty with your diet. But what this really means is that someone was rejecting me. Well, someone or something, but usually it's someone. Someone was rejecting me. But in the end, I succeeded. And who might be the rejecter who's rejecting the first person in the sample sentence? It could be anyone. It could be like maybe a job or many jobs, or it could be, like a love interest, loads of like, as long as there's an opportunity you're rejected, and you can say the situation is like monk, but it is more common in Cantonese, I guess, culture when to bring this idiom up in a conversation is to say it regarding a love interest rejection. Okie dokie. I mean, but if you want to talk about like finding a job, sibling monk is perfectly fine as well. Okie dokie. Let's go to the next one. 我哋見到一袋嘅乜嘢咧？一袋 a bag of what? This is a bag of 穀種。穀種 is grain seed, and what are we eating this time? We're eating grain seed. 食穀種 That's a direct translation. To eat grain seeds. 我好耐冇開工啦，我都係食穀種㗎咋。It means to be down on your life savings without any income. In a sample sentence, 我好耐冇開工. I haven't worked in a while. In a long while, actually. I'm just eating grain feed. 我都係食穀種㗎咋。咁點解咧? Why? So imagine you're a farmer and you have no harvestable crops. You are down to eating your seeds that you could have planted your next crop with, but because you're so out of opportunity, you're eating your last reserves, and those reserves are your gukjong, your grain seed. So that's why when I say that you're eating your grain feed or your grain seed, that means that you're eating your very last resources that could be, I guess, your life savings. Or if you're a farmer, then you're really eating whatever last seeds you have. 食穀種. Let's look at the next one. Non-stop learning, right? Okie dokie. So this one is 食龍肉都冇味. 食龍肉都冇味. Moving beyond our 3-worded ones, right? So what it means is to eat dragon meat and to find it flavorless. But what it really means is that you're in such a bad mood. And that bad mood could be anything. Okay? It could be that you're so angry, or you're so anxious, or you're so frustrated, or you're so sad that you're so occupied that even if you had dragon meat, you would not find it flavorful. You would find it flavorless, in fact, and it's not tasty. And remember that like dragon is like, the ultimate mythical beast. It's dragon at the very top, and then there's like, there's like quite a large gap, and then comes all the other mystical. So dragon, so like even dragon meat is flavorless, and that is to describe how sad or how occupied you are with your bad mood that you cannot even find it tasty. So what's an example sentence? A sample sentence could be 我失戀唔開心到我食龍肉都冇味. My breakup made me so sad that even if I ate dragon meat, I would find it flavorless. Lots of bizarre, lots of impossible things happen there because I'm, where can we find a canned dragon meat, right? But it really shows that you're using that bizarreness, that imaginary and that mythical element to show that that's how intense your emotion is. Okay? It's a very strong feature of Chinese speaking. Okay, this is the last thing we're going to eat. 我哋今日最後一樣嘢會食嘅咧，就係食腦啦，食腦 yum. To eat brains. So Chinese people believe that in traditional Chinese medicine that 你食乜嘢咧就補乜嘢嘅. Whatever that you eat is good for that body part, which actually makes sense if you think about it. So if you eat bone broth, it has lots of calcium and it's better for your own bones because then your bones need to absorb the calcium, right? So in this logic, if you ate brains, that would make you smarter. Okay, siklo. Now, if we use this in an idiom sense, it means to describe someone as clever, 好聰明, okay, 好醒, very smart. And it means smart and not just like, like, oh, it's like not just very academia smart, but also very clever and witty that you are thinking outside the box as well. Okay, it's not just like, oh, 我係一個讀書好叻嘅天才生，我食腦啊。That is being academia smart. Saying like 食腦 is actually referring you to more street smart context. So in the sample sentence, 你一定贏唔到我啦，我食腦㗎。Definitely can't win me. I eat brains. Sounds like a zombie. So this sentence, think about the context of what we just learned. More street smart. Okay, so think about that competition. It doesn't seem like they're talking about a piano competition, right? I don't think so. They're probably talking about like more like a battle of wits. They're really, really, really having it maybe in a more social, I guess a more social competition. So maybe it could be like a workplace thing, or maybe it could be, I guess, if you want to go to school, like, it also could be academia, like maybe they're part of a Jeopardy or a debate team kind of thing. So this is more street smart, okay, more everyday life smart, and not really quite the academia piano playing kind of cleverness. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So that's it. What I have for 食得嘅嘢個食字. I want you guys to keep thinking about like, other things that you could say in Cantonese idiom, because there's definitely a lot. This isn't just it. And if you guys look on the poster, there's a whole section where they're at a table and they're eating a lot of stuff. And then inside some of the stuff is 食咗人哋隻居啊，食死貓啊，係咪？慢人食湯圓啊，心裏有數啊 ，OK， 即係食碗面反碗底。There's a lot of these kind of sick Cantonese idioms, but today we're not gonna talk about the stuff on the poster. We're gonna talk outside of the poster. So let's keep moving along. Let's go to the second. Oops, I forgot my slide. Let's go to the second section, which is animals. 動物. A lot of times, 動物is, there's two categories. First one is the animals that like, we all are like familiar and comfortable with, and they all clearly have like, a very interesting trait. Like turtles are slow, they have a shell, whatnot. But there's also another side where like people use like, mystical beasts and stuff like that. Now this one is, in Cantonese idioms, we do tend to use like everyday animals more. This is where like, you show the relatability, but also the bizarreness. Okay, it's kind of dual-ended. So the first one is 大頭蝦. 大頭蝦. 大頭蝦, if you definitely translate it, means big head shrimp. Okay. 不過我覺得好多人都會由細個嘅時候都俾人話過大頭蝦㗎啦. Okay, I think everyone's been called 大頭蝦at one point in their life in childhood. Then what it means is a forgetful person. Sample sentence is 每次出街我都唔記得戴太陽眼鏡，我真係大頭蝦. Every single time I go out, I forget to wear my sunglasses. And I'm such a big-headed shrimp. Okay, obviously you can call yourself that. If someone else calls you that, they're telling you that like, oh, you're a forgetful person. Okay. 大頭蝦. The second one is 過街老鼠. 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 The rat that passes through the street. What it means is that it's a person hated by the public, the entire village. Okay, everyone that wants to see him wants to beat him with a broom like a rat. And if you imagine, okay, so we're time travel a little bit. You're gonna think back, and you have a Chinese village or a Chinese, okay, or maybe like it's like the streets, the markets of Hong Kong. and the stalls are very close to each other. The shops are very close to each other, side by side, right? And every single shopkeeper, when they see a rat pass through that street, they will all work together and feel that hate and just try to smack that rat with a broom. They're not gonna let that rat go because then no one wants the rat there. Everyone hates it. 國家老鼠咧就成日揾掃把拚佢扯啦，拚 and then like just smack and also to chase it away. So when you say that someone is like 國家老鼠, it means that he's hated by the public, the entire village. Sample sentence here is 當人人發現佢偷阿婆錢，佢就變咗隻過街老鼠啦。Everyone found out that he stole grandma's money. He then became a rat that passes through the street. And usually that like the thing that makes you a 過街老鼠 is either that like people actually know of like the crime that you did, okay, just because like, you did something and no one knows about it, chances are no one's going to treat you that way, right? But then if everyone knows what crime you have done, it's been announced either by the gossip or the newspaper, or even like strangers know who you are, and I guess your not so close contacts also know who you are, and they all direct that hatred towards you. You can definitely say that you're a 國家老鼠 now. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Next one is 男人老狗, man or dog. 男人老狗. Not 男人老狗, okay? But it's 男人老狗, okay? The tone, you're careful, okay? Make sure that you guys get the tone right. Just slur it a little bit for this one. What it means is that it refers to a man who's been in society long enough, okay, to handle any hardships. So he's bracket emotionally mature and easygoing with whatever tough situations that come up, big or small. So it could be like sample sentence could be 男人老狗失戀怕咩啫, right? Like man or dog, what's there to be so afraid of? Excuse me. What's there to be afraid of in a breakup? Obviously, a breakup could be a big thing. And as a person who's soaked in society, the tea of society long enough, that like it shouldn't like waver you. But it also could be a small thing, like just like being like showing the masculinity of 男人老狗一萬半萬瞓地下啦, it could just be like 男人老狗, man or dog. It's okay for a night or two. Sleeping on the floor is fine. Okay, it's obviously like there's some designated masculine / gentleman traits that should be in there without mentioning that you are a gentleman, but because you're a man, you are, I don't want to say obligated, but then you should be able to handle this. And it could be any rough situations, breakup, losing your job, sleeping on the floor for the night without a pillow or a blanket, stuff like that. And you can use this anywhere. You refer to someone like a man, 男人老狗, at any age, as long as they're not a kid. But you just want to just show that like, hey, you're a man, like, you're a tough man, kind of thing. So probably heard of this one, right? This one too. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to slide 20. And we are going to look at one of my favorite seafood, 蟹. Oh, yeah, that's a 蟹, 軟腳蟹. Soft-legged crab, 軟腳蟹, means that someone who cannot walk properly because they are so tired in their legs particularly. 你行得咁慢，成隻軟殼蟹咁，快啲啦. Oh, you walk so slow, like a soft-legged crab. Hurry up. That's telling them that like they're like so slow, and you could tell that like they're limping a little bit, or like maybe it was their leg day or something, and then you can definitely tell them like you're like a 軟腳蟹. You can't even stand one leg day. So there you go. Perfect usage and per generation. Am I right? Okie dokie. Let's go to the last animal. Last animal that we have here on slide 21 is 無情雞. 無情雞. No love chicken. 情 right? Ting means love, or it means relationship bond. Okay, so it can also be no bond chicken, no love chicken. 冇情雞. What it means is it means to be fired, particularly with unkindness. And this is usually actually used with like, designated layoffs because then you know it's coming. Or you know that like 你公司地震, which means that there's an earthquake at your company. Obviously that's figurative. Literal meaning is that there is going to be a lot of HR changes and including a lot of people leaving, like quitting / being terminated. And you can say 無情雞. 一定會食無情雞啦呢鋪. The sample sentence here is 今年公司業績咁差，我睇年尾一定有得食無情雞啦。This year, the company had terrible sales. I think there will be no love chicken available to eat at the end of the year. Okay, no love chicken. 無情雞. Oh. What verb you use with it? 食 or 請人食, to let people, to offer to people. Okay, halfway through. We'll go to the next slide. Next slide is we are on our third 第三個 topic. This section is ghosts. Okay, so why we're doing ghosts, I could choose another one, obviously. But the reason why I chose ghosts is because I love Chinese spooky things. But the other thing is that it's because ghost is actually a very important word in Cantonese. Yes, it is a little bit rude actually to use a ghost in more formal conversation. Absolutely rude. But in casual Cantonese conversation, it has a lot of grammatical usage. First of all, it's used as a placeholder for who. So instead of saying who in more casual situations, you can just use the word ghost. Instead of saying 鬼唔知阿媽，唔係邊個唔知阿媽係女人啫? Who doesn't know that mother is a woman? That's for stating the obvious. And you can say 鬼唔知阿媽係女人咩? Ghosts don't know a mom is a woman. So it obviously, the sentence is the same, the meaning is the same. But because you use 鬼 as a placeholder for any of the pronouns, including who, then that's how Cantonese spoken Cantonese is often structured around in casual conversations. But since we're talking about idioms today and not talking about casual conversation grammar, we're going to talk about some designated spooky idioms. So something very spooky is when there's a ghost inside of you. 內鬼, 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 inside ghost or interior ghost. It means that it's a betrayer, it's a spy. So either it's someone who betrays a group or was planted as a spy the whole time. The sample sentence is 劉德華係警隊裏的內鬼，其實佢係黑社會。係咪好熟呢？冇錯，係無間道。So Andy Lau is the interior ghost or the inside ghost. In the police force, he's actually a triad. The sentence pretty much explains himself. It shows that, he's something inside the police force, but he's actually a triad. So you can substitute the word interior ghost for spy or betrayer, right? Because we know what it means. But when we think of it in a more Chinese sense, okay, we're thinking about why we're using the word ghost. It's because the word ghost defies the boundary of a human. Chinese people see human as the center. It's a very anthropocentric view, the Chinese perspective. They're not only at the center of everything, you're also at the top of everything. So anything that is not human is actually below. So yes, you can be spooky with ghosts, or you can also refer to ghosts as the unknown, or you can refer to ghosts as actual respectful the dead too. So it's three ways that we can think of ghost as a noun to substitute. Then what are we referring to? So here we are saying it is the unknown. Yes, it also has a negative connotation to it too. So in a way, you can think of it in four perspectives. The unknown, the negative stuff, the spooky, scary stuff, and the respectful dead people. Okay? So 劉德華係警隊裏的內鬼，係警隊入邊嘅內鬼。其實佢黑社會 ，and don't forget 黑社會 means triad, black society triad. So let's go down to. Oh yeah, if anyone noticed, I try to make the emoji kind of like their poster in Infernal Affairs too. Okay, I think it's from movie 2 or something. So let's go to next slide. Next slide, we're going to be on slide 24. This slide is 冇膽鬼,冇膽鬼. Dam is gallbladder, so this directly translates to no gallbladder ghost. Okay, yeah, ghosts with no gallbladder. What could that possibly mean? You're missing some organs. You're so incomplete. How do you even process your food? Well, obviously, a ghost doesn't eat, but really, what we're trying to say is that this person is a scaredy cat, someone with no guts. So, dam really refers to a play on words on how you hold fear. 你有膽 means if you have the guts, you have guts. Very similar to actually the English way of saying to have guts and to not have guts, to show that, like, you know, you have capacity for containing fear. So the example sentence is 你唔敢一個人去廁所，真係一隻冇膽鬼. You're too afraid to go to the bathroom alone. Such a no gallbladder ghost. Right? I think we all know that one person who's like too afraid to go to the bathroom at night, especially at, like, you know, after watching a horror movie. Don't blame them. But then you could say, 你真係隻冇膽鬼. So, this one you guys might have heard it too, right? We do use the word ghost a lot. Now, let's go to the next one. This one, anyone who has watched historical Chinese drama or a movie, you'll definitely have heard this. Because then, this is 替死鬼. 替死鬼. Oh, probably the spookiest one of all. Because then if you think about it, 真係講緊隻鬼. 替死鬼 means substitute, 替, right? 替換 or to replace. 死, death. 鬼, ghost, right? What it really means is that an innocent person is punished or put to death in place of another guilty person. And that guilty person gets to 逍遙法外, okay? Gets to enjoy the freedom outside the fence of law. So, 以前啲有錢人會揾隻替死鬼代罪，自己就逍遙法外. Rich people back in the day used to find a substitute death ghost to take on their crimes, and then they will enjoy the freedom outside of the fence of law. Now, 嗰隻替死鬼咧, in ancient times, they were punished or literally just put to death in place of that rich person or maybe that royal, whatever it was. You know, very often we've all watched our, you know, our palace dramas. So 替死鬼, this time we're literally referring to someone who potentially dies. But since obviously no one dies, and we use this in a more casual conversation base, it just means that anyone who is taken and used as a tool so that person can escape the punishment or the guilt or whatever that that was accused. So this is an innocent person being framed, 替死鬼, and to actually be, you know, held accountable. Okay, 替死鬼. So let's do the next one. We are on slide 26. Might have to do it. I might have to talk a little bit faster because then I think I did try to pack a line here. Okay, so 走鬼, 走鬼, run ghost, means to run away. 走鬼啦. So here in the sample sentence is 食環署就到啦，走鬼啊. Know if anyone has watched 七十二家房客啊, or any of those that are very one of those older dramas in the last couple of decades or movies, and you see that people have food stalls, right? So nowadays in Hong Kong, this probably won't happen that much, but then back in the olden days, food stalls were very common, like the one that especially with wheels, you can push around, or you have ones that are just kind of like, it's on a bamboo with two boxes or two baskets, and then they will just sell food from that, right? And then so it's very mobile. So these mobile food stalls usually don't have a license. So it's very ghetto. But in Hong Kong, they actually take this very seriously. And then SICMA, the Food and Health Safety Department, gets stricter and stricter and stricter. And they do a lot of surprise checks on popular areas. So they would ticket people, fine people. So the common thing to yell when you're telling people to run away is 走鬼啊! And then you would just see that whole crowd of everyone just packing their stuff. And obviously you can use this for anything. I mean, like maybe watching a war drama, maybe it could be like the World War II Japanese drama, and like the bombs are coming, and you'll say 走鬼啊! And you can say all that too. So any time applicable, this one you might see SICMA or in a war. 走鬼啊! Okay? Now the next one is also 走鬼, but this one is 醉酒鬼. 醉酒鬼 is drunk wine ghost. So it obviously means an alcoholic. Sample sentence is 成日見到好多酒鬼坐喺公園俾警察趕走. You can always see a lot of drunk wine ghosts sitting at the park and being sent away by the police. Are they being exorcised by the police? Obviously not. The police are not performing exorcisms, but they're just, probably just shooing them away because then we're referring to alcoholic people, not ghosts. And if the person is not presently drunk, okay, they're just an alcoholic. They're sober right now and then you can drop the 醉 and just call them 酒鬼. Kind of like how the exact same pronunciation as the last word, 酒鬼, but this 酒 is for wine, alcohol. Let's do the next one. Next one, slide 28 is 小氣鬼. 小氣鬼, little air ghost. 小氣鬼 means that someone who's not generous particularly about sharing financial resources or emotional capacity for others, usually does not forgive easily. You might think of them as a Scrooge, but then the focus usually is on that they do not forgive easily, or if you want to borrow something from them, they usually won't lend it, kind of thing. 好斤斤計較. They're always counting, keeping score. So sample sentence is 都發生咗咁耐啦，你真係一隻小氣鬼咯。It happened so long ago. That's such a little air ghost. Now note that in the note it says hey, which is like the word 小氣, the one 有4個口字個，即係個口犬口嗰個字。頭先啱啱上咗我哋嗰個 radical 嗰課，4個字都識讀，2個部首喺晒度 right? 2 radicals in 1 word. It means capacity. And it's actually the correct word because in hate it's actually referring to how much capacity you have as a person. Okay, because I call you a hey. Hey means vessel, okay, or like a holder. Hey ming, okay. So that's all the spooky little ghosts I have for this topic, and we're going to do one more. Let's see if I can squish. Okay, there's 10 more minutes left of class. I do have a quiz portion. If anyone has to go in the next 10 minutes, don't worry, this is recorded. But if anyone who wants to stay and do the quiz part with me, you guys are all welcome to. Okay, so let's chug along. Let's see what happens in 10 minutes. Next one, the next topic is C. Poo. Okay, so 點解揀 poo 咧? You guys all know that, I always try to refrain from saying inappropriate things, but I chose this one particularly because if you guys want to start thinking, okay, in more Cantonese mindset, you want to change your channel from an English channel to a Chinese channel, I guess I'll change your humor points too. And something that's very different about between Chinese and English is that English, the humor point is often on sex, whereas Chinese humor point is usually on poop, if we're talking about dirty talk. Dirty talk usually means sexual, right, in English, but then dirty talk in Chinese, usually talking about poop or other fun stuff. So that's why if you always watch Stephen Chow, obviously there's a mix of both, but then watch other similar decade the 80s, 90s, millennium. A lot of the humor point is actually on poop. Now, this is also equally important as a grammar vocabulary sense because C has a lot of puns for it. We all know. So let's talk about the first one. First one, 廁所點燈. I don't know if anyone heard of this one. 廁所點燈 means lighting a lamp by the toilet. 喺廁所隔離點燈喎，或者喺廁所上面點燈喎。咁其實你係想做乜嘢咧？找屎 looking for poop. And here the poop is a pun for death. So therefore you're seeking your own end. Okay, and there could be, I guess, many, like two ways I can see it. Either you have pissed someone off, they have angered someone to the point where you are seeking your own death, or you're doing something so risky and dumb that you are seeking your own death. So it goes two ways. So let's look at the sample. We've got a whole conversation here. So 咁耐冇見，你老咗好多喎。你係咪想廁所點燈啊？嚇咩意思啊？找屎啊！ So obviously someone said a very offensive thing. You aged a lot. And the person B got pissed, got mad, and asked, do you want to light a lamp by the toilet? Oh, what does that mean? Right? Remember the banters. The person didn't catch on, so that's where the second half comes in. The answer part, the pun part, you gotta slap that banter into your face and tell them what you really mean, and it'd be seek poo. Really means seek death. Do you want to die? It's kind of like the Korean K-drama 죽을래? Kind of thing. So let's go to the next one. We're thinking more about puns and about this dirty talk. Okay, let's talk about one. This one maybe you heard your parents say it. 神仙放屁. Oopsie. 神仙放屁. 神仙 means fairy. 放屁 means to fart. So the direct translation is a fairy farting. What it really means is that you want to describe something as a very special and unique from the norm. For something very above average. Very positive, eh? So sample sentence is 哇！你啲歌聲簡直係神仙放屁。咁其實係講咩咧？咁其實係咪真係講緊 your singing voice is just like a fairy farting? That's how musical it sounds, right? But obviously they're saying that wow, your singing is just so above average. And the pun for above average, okay, above, very special and different from the norm, unique, is 不同凡響。不同, different. 凡 is where the pun is. 凡 is referring to the average, mankind, okay? The mere mortal. 凡 means mortal. 不同凡響, different from how mortal sounds. 所以係神仙放屁。不同凡響, you're above average, you're above the norm. You sound different because you sound different from a mere mortal. 不同凡響。當然啦, you don't have to actually just refer this to a sound. I mean, you don't have to use this analogy just for sound. You can use this analogy for anything, any action or any skill, situation that happens. 即係不同凡響啊. No, it could be someone's looks. Someone's so beautiful. 哇，神仙放屁，不同凡響. Because then that's how different and above average they are. Or maybe you can talk about art, right? So whatever it is, I'm sure this one's an easy one for you guys to use as well. Let's go to the next one. Next one is 身有屎. So you have poop on your body. 身有屎. 身有屎 means you're holding a dirty secret. To be guilty of something and hiding it. Okay? So what's the pun 屎 for? This time it's for 心事嘅事. Okay? 心事嘅事. So what you're really saying is 心有事,身有事, okay? If you're looking guilty or you're doing something that, that makes people suspect you as the guilty one, then people will accuse you of this, right? So they're accusing you that like, like you definitely look like you're harboring a dirty secret and it's occupying you. It's occupying your heart. It's troubling you, or like, it's starting to show up on your face. That's like, it's like, it shows up as if you have poop on your body. 身有屎. And obviously like it doesn't, it helps that we're using poop in a negative way in this context, like bad secret, okay? Dirty secret. So sample sentence is 你唔出聲代表你身有屎啦，講係咪你做㗎？ You're not saying anything must mean that you have poop on your body. Speak. Was it you that did it? Right? Sounds like, this is a very accusing, or like you're trying to like, make this person speak the truth. Because then you know that this person's showing guilt or showing like a clue that he could be guilty. So easy, right? When are you going to use this? Maybe when someone stole your snacks at work and you see them have a guilty look and be like, huh, 你係咪身有屎啊？一定係你做啊 that's the way you accuse them. 唔出聲就係㗎啦 Let's go to the next one. Almost done here. So this one is 搞屎棍 Just like 大頭蝦，我相信好多人都俾人鬧過搞屎棍呢段細個 At least I have. What it is a stir poo stick. What it really means is a troublemaker. Now, why is it a troublemaker, right? It's because then first of all, who really needs to stir poo? There's no reason to stir poo, right? And no one even wants to touch poo. So for someone to stir poo or to be like a stick in poo that is being stirred, that means that not only are you doing something unnecessary, you're also doing something that's bothering everyone. Okay, you're making the entire room smell again because then you stirred up some poo, or you just had to open that lid. Right? This is showing how annoying that person thinks of you when they call you 搞屎棍. Now the sample sentence is 我洗完碗你先嚟打爛嘢，正一搞屎棍嚟嘅. Okay, I finished washing the dishes, then you break something. What a poo stirring stick, right? So obviously we can use this to yell at anyone who's like, in your way, or they're like, bothering you and like they're making a mess, or like, like they're seems like they're trying to help, but they're not even helping at all. 搞屎棍. Okay, now what is it a pun for, right? So like the one before, 身有屎, 個屎字咧其實係講個事字。其實搞屎棍咧係真係搞事 right? 搞事 making trouble 搞事 Last one 34 slide 34擔屎唔偷食 擔屎 to carry poop 偷食 and to not steal any. I think everyone's heard of this one, but no one knows what it means, right? Well, no one knows where it came from. You guys all know that it means an honest person. 班長好信得過㗎，佢擔屎唔偷食㗎. Homeroom rep is very trustworthy. He carries poop, but he doesn't steal any to eat, right? So trustworthy. I will trust him with my poop, right? Now 其實擔屎唔偷食係點解咧？其實係講咧喺好耐之前咧有個人 there was a person who was actually an official. So this official was not corrupt. He was actually a really good official. And even though basically the court would give you 一擔米, okay, like 擔 is a measurement for rice. So like think of it as like maybe like one basket or two basketfuls of rice. I'm not exactly sure what the ancient Chinese measurement system amounts to today, but then just imagine like maybe it could be like a sack of rice. So even though like every month you would get like a sack of rice, even though you have already retired, and this really good official, he was really incorrupt. He did not accept it, even though it's part of his retirement payment. He didn't take it. He'd rather borrow from like, other merchants than to take that rice. So what he did, he took that rice and he like fed it to poor. So he fed it to his village instead. So then and he would take the entire thing. 擔嗰個即係佢擔石咧，其實嗰個説話係講擔石啦，擔石不偷食，石 as in rice. So that was also a measurement of a small amount of rice. So 擔石咧 means a small bag of rice. So even though it was a small measurement, a small vessel of rice, he still didn't steal any of that rice to eat, and he gave it all to the villagers. And he suffered. So this old man, this good court official in his retirement days, still did this for his village, even though he was not a court official anymore. So obviously, between the different dialects and the different ages, and then the mix, it eventually became from 擔石不偷食，擔石唔偷食，石 as in rock. 擔石唔偷食咧就變咗擔屎唔偷食啦。So apparently from northern dialects mixed with Cantonese dialects, it became 擔屎唔偷食. Because then 屎 is sounding like se, and 擔 it sounds like dam, which is the measurement for a sack of rice. 擔石唔偷食。點？有冇問題？ Any questions？ 睇下個 chat 先，而家再睇個 chat。